Entering fantasy drafts in the upcoming season, here's a few running backs I think will be bust this season. The first guy, Miles Sanders of the Carolina Panthers. So a few factors here for why I think Sanders will be a bust. Number one, he's not in an elite Eagle offense anymore this year. This Panther team, I think they're going to have trouble moving the football with their top two receivers right now, Adam Thielen and DJ Chark, going into the year, where those guys obviously got a lot of miles and a lot of injuries throughout their career, on and off as well. And also this offensive line just isn't that good over there in Carolina. And there's going to be a lot of ball games where they're going to be obviously trailing and abandon the run. And Sanders, we know, is not a great receiver out of the backfield. So last season, no doubt about it, a great year, 1,269 rush yards, 11 touchdowns on 259 rushes, 20 catches, and 78 receiving yards. So right now, I think he'll get anywhere from 250 to 300 touches. Once again, is Miles Sanders. But like I said, he's not playing with an A.J. Brown, a Devonta Smith, a Dallas Goedert, and a dynamic quarterback, Jalen Hurts, this season. But right now, he's in a worse offense. It's with worse players. And right now, he's going way too high in fantasy drafts. Like, I wouldn't even be comfortable going into the year with Sanders as my number 2 running back. I know he's going 4th or 5th round in most fantasy leagues. But right now, he's banged up as well with a groin injury. And like I said, last season, it was just a product of the offense over there in Philly. So I'll let someone else deal with Miles Sanders. And I have him this season as a bust at the running back position. Next running back is Javonte Williams of the Denver Broncos. Javonte Williams, it's very good to see him participating in training camp and already back from the torn ACL, but it takes a while for these guys to get right and obviously be 100% coming off the ACL and have a big season. The only guys I can remember, to be honest, is Jamal Charles and Adrian Peterson coming off the torn ACL and being monster running backs the next season off the injury. But those guys are different breed of type of running backs. Those obviously are top running backs of all time, those two guys. And Javonte Williams last season, a lot of hype going into the year before he went down. And right now his ADP isn't that bad. Anywhere from the 6th to the 7th round he's going in most fantasy drafts. But Samaje Perine's over there. There's rumors if Josh Jacobs does get traded, the Broncos will be interested. So I don't think they're 100% sold on Javonte Williams. And I don't think fantasy owners should be as well, because I'm seeing him in a lot of fantasy lineups in the early going here, mock drafts and ADP-wise, where he's projecting as a number 2 running back or flex option, and coming off a major injury in this early as well, coming off of it. I just can't trust Javonte Williams to go in there and give you a big season like he did a few years ago, where him and Melvin Gordon were splitting carries. So right now, the ADP isn't horrible, but with the expectations for Javonte Williams, and like I said, with Perine there, who I think's a very solid running back that could be a starter on half the teams, I believe. I think it's going to be a 60-40 split at best, with Javonte getting a little more touches. But like I said, Perine's a good running back, and he's a guy that can steal touches as well from Javonte Williams. So this season, I think too much expectations coming off an injury like that. And he's a running back I have as a bust this year. The next running back is Najee Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Harris last season, he was a first-round pick, and I did take him in a couple fantasy leagues, and it just didn't work out at all for Harris. He finished the year last year, 272 carries, 1,034 rush yards, 7 touchdowns, 41 catches, 229 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns. So the second half of the year, he did get a little bit better, but not where fantasy owners drafted him to be a number 1 running back and bell cow on your roster. He was more of a mid-2 running back for the most part of the season. So now another year here, Pittsburgh with Najee Harris. And I think this Steelers team, they're going to start throwing the football a little bit more. They got the weapons, obviously. George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth. You got Deontay Johnson, who's a good possession wide receiver. And Jaylen Warren really can make plays out of the backfield as well. So I think Warren's going to eat into this workload for Harris. I think Warren's going to be the third down back for the most part. And this Steelers team, there's going to be a few ball games where they're going to be trailing by a lot, and they're going to have to play catch-up as well throwing the football. So right now, I don't like Harris's ADP in the mid-second round, late second round. If he fell to the 3rd, 4th round, then I could live with it. But right now, as a second-rounder, he's not a running back I want any part of here, is Najee Harris. And I'd rather wait a round or two to get a guy like a James Conner, a Jahmyr Gibbs. I'd rather have, obviously, an Aaron Jones or Joe Mixon. So right now, with his ADP, and last season, very frustrating to own Najee Harris. And this year, pretty much the personnel and stuff is the same. I don't see him having a good year, really, for where you're drafting him. And I have him as a bust this year. The next running back is Cam Akers Los Angeles Rams. So Cam Akers, every year, a lot of people think he's going to break out and be a monster back. I know last season, towards the end of the year, he had a good run as Akers, but he's another running back. You don't catch the football out of the backfield, so that hurts in PPR leagues. Kyren Williams is over there as well, looming. And Akers, he had a good 3 or 4 games where it didn't matter towards the end of the year. Last season, 188 carries, 786 rush yards, 7 rushing touchdowns. So right now, yes, he'll be the number 1 running back going into the year here for this Ram team. But I don't know how this Ram offense is even going to run this year. We don't know if Stafford's 100% healthy. Right now, Cooper Kupp, he's banged up with the hamstring injury. So if he's out, things won't open up for Cam Akers. And Akers, I feel like in the 4th round, he's not a running back I'm interested in at all. I'll let someone else in my fantasy league go get him because inconsistencies are going to be there. You don't catch the football out of the backfield. And Kyren Williams, he definitely could eat into his workload at 40% of it. So right now, with all those factors, I have him as a bust this season, and the 5th and final running back I have as a bust this year is David Montgomery, Detroit Lions. So Montgomery, he left in free agency from the Chicago Bears, and he stayed within the division going to the Lions. And now with Jahmyr Gibbs over there, he's more of an explosive running back. And you know what you're going to get from Montgomery. Some ball games, he'll rush over 100 yards. He'll have 17, 20 fantasy points. And then some games, he'll fail to reach 8 to 9 fantasy points is Montgomery. So last season, 201 carries, 801 rush yards, 5 touchdowns, 34 grabs, 316 receiving yards, and a touchdown. So right now, I think Jahmyr Gibbs a minimum to start the year. He's going to get 8 to 10 carries, and he's going to be working as the 3rd down running back. So right there, that's about 35-40% of the workload he's going to get from Montgomery. And also, he's more of an explosive, game-breaking type of running back here is Jahmyr Gibbs, who obviously he's bulky as well, where he could run in between the tackles, he could block, protect, and he could catch the ball out of the backfield, and he could be a running back that gets 50 to 60 catches this season. So Jahmyr Gibbs, he's going to play a big factor and a big role, obviously, here in the backfield for this Detroit Lion team. They drafted him 12th overall for a reason. And David Montgomery, at best, I have him as a flex or just a guy as depth to work into your lineup on bye weeks. But if you're going into the season with him as your number 2 running back, I don't think it's going to work out for fantasy owners. And I don't even like him right now where he's going in the 4th or 5th round of most drafts. I'd rather have guys like Alexander Mattison, James Conner I put on the list, even Dalvin Cook and Andre Swift with his upside in that offense, James Cook. So running backs like that, I'd rather have on my team than a David Montgomery because I don't think he's going to do a lot. And with Jahmyr Gibbs over there, Gibbs by week 3 or week 4, he definitely could take this position by the reins and run away with it, no pun intended. So I think Montgomery's a bust this year. So that's a few running backs I have a bust here entering the 2023 fantasy football season.